Hi, welcome. I'm so glad to be here today with Fred Geslin, who has taught me so many fascinating things about rewarding the animal brain inside of us to create the behavior that we want. So we're going to go into some fascinating examples of that. Hi, Fred.
Hello, Loretta.
Fred is an expert in working with adults with cognitive impairment, and we're going to talk about that. But he is also, you could call it experimenting on himself. So he has read all of my books, including Habits of a Happy Brain, and he has developed some methods, as explained in the book, for rewarding himself for desired behaviors. And he thought of some examples that I just loved and that I hadn't thought of myself, and yet they make so much sense, and he got good results. So, Fred, do you want to tell us a little bit first? How did you get started on this idea of creating the new behavior that you wanted to create?
Okay. I'm going to try because my English is not so good, so I'm sorry about that. Um, it's just after to read your books. It was marvelous. It was so clear for me how uh, how we are like human. And I understand a lot of about the importance of rewards, what we have to do to reward, and how to build new neural pathway.
Yes.
So, I try to take what you say in your books and how to do in my life to use it. So before to read your books, I was interested about what we call tactics.
Mm.
Tactics is a method we use to teach children. It's we use a clicker like for animals. It not means we are animals. It just means it's a method. It's working very well, and it's a method we use clicker for doing noise when you success in a task.
Yes,
So
exactly. Could you please hold up the clicker for a second so that people can see this? So,
what is this? I take another thing. A clicker, it just you have to click
right.
on this object. This a little different from a clicker. And I use this one. It's a counter to count the number of person during a concert of a
Yes.
theater.
Yes.
And you can put on the zero, okay,
Yes.
like this,
Every morning.
up, yeah, every morning. And each time I success, I success
Yes.
in a task I want to do. So I just push, it's main one, push another time, it's do two. And at the end of the day, I just count. And if I do a certain number of the clicker, give me a reward. Understand?
Okay. Now, some people would be offended by the idea of training ourselves like a dog. First, I should explain for people who don't know that clicker training is a method that's often used in animal training. And it's sometimes used with children in a certain program called tag teaching. And when it is, often the parents are offended by the idea, oh, how dare you treat my child like a dog? But what Fred is explaining is that we do have an animal brain inside of us, and our animal brain learns from rewards. So the next real question is, but how did you perceive these clicks as a reward?
Oh, first of all, I don't want to offend every nobody. Uh, it's just a choice. It's a choice
Mm-mm-mm.
in
Yes, for
conscious.
yourself.
You understand? for myself. It's just a tool. It's a trick,
Mm,
just a trick.
yes.
And it's a usual trick. It's a fantastic trick. So,
Can I just also add one thing? People should understand from the way you told it to me that these clicks you were not just giving yourself for like getting things done. Like people often think, oh, I have to make myself do things. But you were rewarding yourself for a thought process. And that's the point of my work
yeah,
is that the thought process and the
yeah,
important thought process is that the animal brain is always putting itself in the one up or one down position. And if you can catch yourself doing that and redirect it, and that's what you were doing, right?
yes, you're right, Loretta. It's very, very hard to see our own thoughts
Mm.
driving. So like I said, I just take an example. I read on your book or on I saw on your video, you were talking about the difficulty to remember what you want because when you're living to every day, you not thought every time about what you want to from to goal the goal, and so for an example, you say sometimes you eat the half of the pizza before you remember you want just take a little piece of pizza. It's my problem a lot of time. I just remember what I want to do after it's done. So I just try to find a trick, find a tool to remember this, and this is why I use it. Each time I can remember the thought I want, I click. It's
And then
not
at the end of the
like,
day, you have a certain number of clicks, and then what?
okay. First of all, when you click, it's you have a little of dopamine because you hear the click and you are proud of that. And at the end of the day, I count the how many time I click, and if I have a good number, I just give me a reward. Some a lot of time it's money. I take money and I put for a goal like travel, like to buy a book. It's that kind of reward. I give it to me for that.
Yeah, that's good. I just want to let people know that this is Fred's program that he developed to implement what I explain in my book, which is that the reason we eat the pizza before we remember that we only wanted to eat one slice is that the urge to keep eating is a big neural pathway in your brain. And your electricity flows into the biggest pathways so quickly that you lose track of your ability to redirect it, which is actually like trying to send a river into a soda straw, because that's what it is to try to redirect yourself into a neural pathway that's not already developed. So, developing a new neural pathway takes a lot of repetition. And in adulthood, it's even harder. So, if a person ate half the pizza when they were a child, that builds the neural pathway, and we're all just facing adulthood with the neural pathways we built in childhood. So, I was very interested in hearing one more thing that you explained. So, in my books, I always talk about of course, there's the dopamine you mentioned, which is the sense of accomplishment, the sense of moving forward. But then when you said you're proud of yourself, that's serotonin, which is the mammalian urge to feel higher in the social stack. Now, you said that you had learned in youth, which is true of almost everybody, that you wanted approval from others. And you realized after reading my books, and including my book Status Games, that we have to give ourselves approval and that you clicked
Mm.
every time you gave yourself approval. And I was so happy to hear that because that is really the core of what I think everyone needs to do.
Yes, it's so important what you say. We have to learn how to give ourselves uh, the how you say um, the applause.
Yes,
Say
yes,
you you doing is good because very often we don't have the applause of the others, and it's a deception. So we have to learn how to be or I'm sorry for my English, Loretta.
yes. Well,
Uh,
when you say deception, so in English,
yeah,
is that's disappointment. Okay.
it's important.
So we
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
disappointment when we
yes.
don't get the applause of others. So we
Yeah.
all know people who applaud themselves too much, and people who are
Mm,
listening may think, oh, well, if you just applaud yourself all the time, you may be a jerk. And also, if you applaud yourself all the time, you may be delusional and then you get more disappointment. But the other side of the coin is that you're always expecting the applause of others and then you don't get it and you feel disappointed. And that disappointment is cortisol. And if you can't admit to yourself that you wanted their approval and that you're feeling disappointed over and over, then you're stuck with cortisol and you feel powerless and you think it's their fault. So that's sort of the
mm,
beauty of your system.
mm. Yeah, and I think you're right because it's very difficult to live and wait every time the appraisal of the others. Uh, so I try to find a way to give it to myself, and uh, it's a work. It's it's work to build the new pathway to do that. So I use it one more time, and each time I'm doing a little thing that I am proud of it. I just click one time, and at the end of the day, it's the same thing. I count the number and I give it to myself a reward.
Good.
Um,
So, we need to
yeah.
move on because we have a couple of other fascinating subjects that we have to get to. So, you work with mentally handicapped adults, and what have you observed about how you can teach people and learn through reward and repetition?
Okay. Um, it's kind of the same mechanism, the same things. That mean they need rewards and they need to be proud to go to find a not to find to arrive to a goal. So in my work, I work with and adult cognitive disabilities people, and I work with art. We are doing uh, a show. We call this Kamishibai. It's a little theater with shadow, with Muppets, and I train the people, the adult I take care, how to use it, how to build it, how to manipulate the shadow, the Muppets. And it's take a lot of time because it's hard for them. Uh, so um, the
So
first,
they have developed a puppet show, and
yes,
you explained to me that they create the content, they create the sets, the mise en scène, and then they perform it in
yes,
children's
from
classrooms.
yes, you're right. And we go to the school for children, and they do the show. There are almost 10 people, 10 adults to do the show. And it's take a lot of time to do that, because it's sometimes it's hard for them to remember how to do it, to manipulate. It's hard for them, and but I think there is two rewards for them. The first reward is to be proud. It's so important for them to be proud. And when at the end of the show, after month and month of work, of repetitions, they do the show and the children applause, they are very proud. And this is the bigger reward for them. And how long how long the time, how long the month when I work with them, I I say I'm proud of them. Not very often, not so. How you say? I adapt. Well,
Mm.
how I say I am proud. I'm not say
Oh,
it's amazing, but I say, wow, you're doing great. You're doing you do progress.
mm.
Uh, and I always say what they're doing good, even it's just little. This is why it takes so long, because this is just little step by little step.
Great.
Uh,
And what you've shown is that this is how dopamine works. So little steps are what stimulate dopamine. So sometimes people set the goal so high that they cannot succeed at getting closer to the goal, and then they don't stimulate dopamine. And
mhm.
other times people set the goal so low that they don't have a sense of accomplishment. They can just do the task on autopilot and don't enjoy the dopamine. So, the art of life, no matter what a person's cognitive level or capacity in any way, is to set goals at an appropriate level that's not
Yeah,
too high and not too low. And that's what you've done for them. And that's what I explain in my books.
yes, exactly, Loretta. It's exactly this. And it's just little step by little step. And I think when we do like this, we can when you use the time, when we take a lot of time, we can do something very big at the end.
Yes. And also, the big thing that is motivating the dopamine is the reward of really social status, which is the approval of others. And we have to acknowledge that humans do want the approval of others. We can't always get it, so that's why we have to give ourselves approval on the way. But we also have to admit to ourselves that we like the approval from others. So you've given them a way to get applause, which they don't have in other aspects of life. And this is the difficulty of being a mammal, that we do care about our social rating, just like chimpanzees also always have a ranking in their group.
Exactly, Loretta. Exactly.
So, speaking of animals having a ranking in a group, so I understand that you grew up around horses and you've learned something from horses or being with horses about animal behavior in terms of their motivation around the ranking in a group. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I used to have during a long time horses. Um, I used to have a, how you say? I'm sorry, almost 10 horses. And what we saw this is that the horses live in herds, in groups,
Oh, herd. Yes.
herd, live in herd, and there is there are a lot of social status in the herds. There is a chief in the herds. There is one chief, and you have to know the chief to to take care of the horses. So an example is the morning when I used to feed the horses. I just have to feed the chief, the chief of the group first, because if I didn't do that, the chief always bother the other horses, bite. Uh, um, so I feed first the chief, and after I feed the other horses. Uh, but I have to take care of a second thing is when I feed the horses, it's important that how you say, the plate, I don't know what's the name.
Yeah, I forgot the word in English. The trough. It's a
How you
trough
say?
where you, um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not a common word, but it's what the horse food is in, right?
yes.
Yeah, it's
They
a
are
trough.
important that it's very far away from each other because if it's not enough far away, the chief is going to bother the other horses, even if he's not eating himself. He prefer to be the chief and not eating that uh, eating is himself.
Yes, so let me explain this again. So he's saying that the chef, we call it the alpha, the leader, the top guy in the group, it will interrupt his own meal in order to prevent the other individuals from eating.
Mm,
And in order to give the others the peace of eating, he creates food troughs that are very long so that they're so far away from others to make it harder for the alpha to interrupt the eating of the others.
mm, mm.
Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exactly that.
I should
And so
explain how I learned about this. So, the idea that in a mammal group, the alpha controls the food, that's their job and their privilege and their impulse. I control the food, or to put it in human words, is I control the resources. So
mm,
they care more about the power to control the resources than getting fed. And I learned this in a few ways. One is I worked at the zoo, and zookeepers know this. If the zookeepers know that if they just offer food, then the alpha will prevent the others from eating, even to the point of biting and kicking them, as you said. So zookeepers can't tolerate their animals getting beaten up by each other. So they have developed protocols for preventing this.
oh,
Then
okay.
I also learned this from, it's called The Dog Whisperer. Cesar Millan, he is a famous dog training expert with a TV show, etc. And like anyone with animals, knows that there are some sort of, we would call them bullies, but this is a natural animal impulse that they will, like, even if they're not hungry, it's not just that they want to steal the other guy's food, but they want to prevent the other guy from eating because I control the food. And this is a natural mammalian impulse. And that's why I liked hearing your example.
It's the
So,
same. Yeah,
mm,
it's the same.
sorry. So many people have this idealized image of horses, and probably you did too until you had to deal with the reality of this.
Oh, not really, because my father used to be a veterinarian and he teach me everything about that. So no, I didn't need
Oh.
realize the horses. It's nature. It's perfect. Problem.
That's great. Well, maybe that's why you were able to accept what I was saying in my books, because so many
Oh,
people find it hard to accept because they insist on this idealized view that animals are pure love and everything that goes wrong is society's fault.
oh, okay.
So I'm curious, when you're with a group of horses and you look at them, how do you know which one is the leader?
Oh, it's usually very simple because, like I say, this is a horse who came the first to eat, and there is a way to see it is uh, all the others horses are afraid about the chief, the alpha. They always afraid, and when he came for food or for something else, they go away. And so you say, so you know there is a chief.
That is so
And,
amazing.
but you have a big chief. Every horses are afraid with these horses, but you have a little chief, a little chief. You understand what I say? Uh,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Hierarchical. It's a hierarchy. Hiérarchie. N'est-ce pas?
OK.
N'est-ce
Yes.
pas? Yeah.
Oui, tout à fait. Yeah.
Yeah. So, this idea that there's a hierarchy in every group of animals is in all of my books, and it's very upsetting to people. People don't like to hear it. I only accepted it because I stumbled on one book about it, and then when I looked, there was another and another and another. And this research has been completely ignored because it makes people uncomfortable. And what happened is modern research is now representing animals as democratic. It tries to imply that they democratically choose their leader because the leader is the best leader and not because they are the most powerful, and that there's no
Mhm.
fear involved. But there is fear involved. And the way I learned this, it's really weird. I mean, other than all of this research, I learned this from a weird experience. So when I worked at the zoo, I had an opportunity to give a special treat to the baboons. And this treat is dragonflies. Dragonflies are, a big insect. And you release the dragonflies, and the baboons love them and they go crazy and they grab. But if they're anywhere near the alpha, the big guy, then they won't grab because they're
Mm.
afraid they're going to get bitten. And in
Mm.
nature, if you get bitten, you could be paralyzed and then you die because you can't eat. So there was an instance of a weak elderly female, and she had a dragonfly right on her nose. And she didn't even grab it from her own nose. She just sat there and did nothing because the alpha was right next to her. So it showed me the degree of fear in this animal system. And it sort of explains why human systems often revert to that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm agree with you. Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what it's important, it's just know that. If you know that, you can manage this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then how we apply this to children. What do you think about that?
What? What
How
did
do
you
we
say?
apply this knowledge to children and raising children?
Uh, how we can do? You mean? Um, I don't know. um,
Yeah.
just to say what you say, Loretta, just to be simple, just to explain how nature is working. Um, but when you know how it's working, after you make choice. What is important is make your own choice after you understand how it's work.
Mm. Yeah.
You understand?
Well, I'm just, I just read this article about children who were fighting in a daycare, and the adults did not want to stop the fighting because of various modern philosophies. So parents have trouble with this aggression in children. And like you say, to acknowledge that this aggression is there, and we have to learn to control it, that it's a learned skill. And if you don't learn to
Yeah.
control it, that you will be an aggressor, you know.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. Our time is up, and
Okay, sure.
thank you. And I hope you can continue developing new ways to apply your knowledge.
Sure. Thank you. Bye bye, Loretta.